So as the year 2021 is almost coming to an end, what are the highlights? What are some of the things that you learned from the stock market this year? Those of you that were investing in the stock market, because it is important that you learn the mistakes and the things that you will take to 2022 to better off your stock market investing journey. It's very important that you highlight some of the mistakes, the problems or things to look out for in the stock market when you are investing or throughout your journey. Like me, myself, one of the things that I learned is that it is not all the predictions that you will make that will come to pass, especially with the growth stocks, because growth stocks tend out to be very volatile. So not all the predictions that you will predict on such stocks will come to pass. It means that sometimes you'll have to sit with growth stocks that tend to underperform or that tend to not perform the way you wanted them to perform. Not that because they are bad stocks, or not that because they are not doing well, but just simply because the market is not like reacting positively either to the fact that maybe the stocks are being manipulated, either there are just maybe political things happening around that sector that is dragging those kind of stocks down. So there is a wide range of things that can happen that can affect the growth or the share increase of a certain stock, which is something that myself I've learned. It's something that I really learned this year, to say that, you know what, stock market, especially the growth stocks, some growth stocks might tend to be hit heavily, not because they are not doing well, but because some of the things or some of the bad news that can come out and affect those growth stocks, which is something that we saw happening around the growth stocks, especially if you look at, for instance, the Chinese growth stocks. I mean, those kind of stocks went through a lot this year. It was just a lot. I mean, from the Didi issue, from the crackdowns, from the shortage of the semiconductors, and also the rapid rise of interest, which not only affected them but affected almost all growth stocks. So one of the things that I was doing, I think this year, was to sort of like prioritize stocks that have good future prospects, stocks that have really strong fundamentals. I mean, those of you that follow me on this channel, you'll remember that most of the stocks that I always talk a lot about are the kind of stocks that I am really prioritizing. So the more I talk about the stock, for instance, is the more money I put on that stock. Because why? Because regardless of the share price not doing well, but the fundamentals of that stock just keep on growing or increasing, which is something that always motivate me to always prioritize those kind of stocks. And this is something that I'm taking even in 2022. I will definitely prioritize and buy that stock. I will pile on that stock because why? Its fundamentals are strong. Its fundamentals keeps on growing. They are doing well in terms of their earnings. When they report their earnings are always better than the earnings they had reported in their previous quarters, which is something that I think as an investor it's important that you note such things. Are the earnings of the stocks you are investing in growing or getting better and better with every time they report their earnings results or not? And then if not, you just have to probably reevaluate and ask yourself as to why are you investing into such a stock. So yes, 2021, to most people or to some of the people, the stock market did not give as much as people anticipated or as much as people wanted, simply because there were so many things happening around the stock market as a whole. I mean, there was the pandemic also that had a huge impact on the stock market, and it's still impacting heavily on the stock market. Some of the stocks are still heavily hit due to this pandemic. But I must say that regardless of some of the stocks not performing as much as they should, there are also stocks that did so great, or there are stocks that are doing so great. I mean, Just 2 days ago, I just read that the S&P 500 just hit an all-time high. I mean, it just means that through it all, or throughout, or the whole this crisis that we've been seeing in some of the growth stocks not doing well, there are growth stocks, or there are also stocks that are doing so well, which is why we are seeing, or we saw the S&P 500 hitting an all-time high. Which otherwise in 2022, guys, I'm hoping that, yeah, most of these growth stocks that were heavily hit this year, most of these growth stocks that did not perform as much as people wanted them to perform, are going to do very well, I believe, as long as the fundamentals remain strong and they keep on growing or piling on the existing strong fundamentals that are there. I just believe that 2022 is going to be a beautiful year to those that actually persevere through 2021 underperformance in some of these stocks. So 2022, I'm hoping for the best. 2022, I'm hoping that these stocks, or some of the growth stocks that even me, I personally invest in, the stocks that I cover on this channel, are going to do so well, are going to perform, and are going to give us some good returns. That is what I believe is going to happen in 2022. It's kind of like rare for you to find growth stocks being hammered 2 years in a row. It's not that possible, because at the end of the day, especially if the fundamentals of those kind of stocks are increasing, the market, one way or the other, it just has to respond positively, or it will start responding positively towards those stocks, which is why it makes me to think that 2022, especially to those growth stocks that did not do that well this year, we are going to see them performing or doing really well in 2022. So 2022, I'm very hopeful to see the stocks that, or to see those kind of growth stocks that I have seriously put my money in, or piled my money in, doing well, because 2021, it was quite a rough year for some of the stocks that we cover on this channel. I mean, stocks like Neom, stocks like SoFi, if you have to check at where they are currently trading at, might maybe causing panic to some of the investors, as I'm saying. I mean, stocks like Asana, though we might cry and whatnot, they did really good. I mean, the first time I covered that stock, I think it was around March, and it was trading around 25 US dollars per stock. I mean, we saw that stock hitting an all-time high just a few months ago, which was quite amazing. And even now, those of you that invested into that stock, the moment I released that video around March, are probably sitting at over 100%, which is still something that is really good. So it's not all the stocks that were hammered, or it's not all the stocks that did not perform as much as they should, but some of the stocks did pretty good this year, which is something that is truly amazing, and has to sort of like motivate you and give you that hope going to 2022, to say that probably even these ones that did not do that well this year, like Neo and your SoFi, are going, we can expect those kind of stocks to do really good next year, because the fundamentals of those stocks keep on growing or increasing, which is something that you should take note, or investors should take note. I mean, a company like SoFi, the banking charter is set to probably come around the second quarter of 2022, which is something that is truly amazing, and will be the one to sort of like boost even the earnings of that company, and also boost or increase on the existing fundamentals that are on that stock. And with Neo, there's just so much happening in 2022, which I believe it will really boost that stock. I mean, they are opening their new Hefe plant, or the Neo Park, in the third quarter of 2022. It is going live in terms of production, which is something that is really, really, really interesting, as this is the first plant or factory that Neo is opening ever since their existence, which is something that is truly amazing, because you'll know that the current factory that's producing this Neo cars, which is like the Jack Neo, it's a factory that Neo is in partnership with the company Jack, which is yeah, the one that is currently producing their car. So to get in 2022 NEO opening their own factory, something that is interesting, because like the production capacity of that plant is 1 million EVs in a year, and it is able to also produce 100 gigawatts of batteries, which is something that is truly amazing. Stocks like SoFi and NEO next year, I expect them to do very well, or I expect them to perform way better, even in terms of the share price, because one way or the other, with NEO, the manipulators can manipulate this stock forever, especially with the strong fundamentals growing, especially with the latest developments that we are seeing around this stock. We can expect NEO share price to sort of like recover in the next coming year. I mean, it is ridiculous to see a stock or a company like NEO trading, or its share price trading around 28 US dollars per stock. I mean, this ought to be taken as a very good sign for you to load the boat, or to take an advantage of these low trading prices on this stock, because it's a stock which is just set to do very well. And not us, the NEO retail investors, believe in this, but even those that don't invest or hate this stock can see the strong fundamentals that lies within this NEO stock, which is something, or which is that reason that makes me to say that I expect this stock to do very well. Otherwise, even this side on our ZAR market, yeah, there are stocks that are doing so well. I mean, companies like African Rainbow Capital, yeah, we've seen them right now picking up in terms of share price. I mean, this is one of the companies here in South Africa that so many retail investors we're talking a lot about, and this is that company that its share price stayed sort of like low for quite some time, but now we are seeing them recovering quite well, which is something that is truly amazing, which is something that show us that these stocks that are being hammered won't stay or won't remain being hammered in terms of share price, but they will always recover, which is something that we are seeing on companies like African Rainbow Capital. We are seeing on all the other companies that their share prices has been hammered for some time. We're seeing some good recoveries, which is something that is truly amazing. I mean, I think in a month or so we saw, I mean, the top 40 hitting an all-time high also. This just means that regardless of some of the share prices not doing, or some of the stock not doing that well, there are other companies that are really doing well, even on our South African JSE, which is something that is incredible. So going to 2022, I believe that you should write all the mistakes, all the things you learned from the stock market in 2021, and sort of like use that to better yourself when you're investing in 2022, because that is what will only make you to succeed in 2022. I mean, you repeating the same mistakes that you did in 2021, in 2022 when you're investing in the stock market won't make you succeed in the stock market, won't make you get those good returns that you seek in the stock market. But learning from your mistakes, the kind of mistakes you did in 2021, is what will guarantee you success in the stock market. And this just goes to everything in life. Are you learning from the mistakes you made, or you are just doing them over and over again? Are you growing from your mistakes? Are you becoming a better person from your mistakes because you are learning, and not making sure that you repeat those mistakes when you are doing the same tasks or the same exercise or the same kind of business? Then if you are learning, you are going to become a better person. If you are learning from your mistakes, you are going to succeed in whatever you are doing. So I believe that 2022 will be a great year. I believe that 2022 we will generate some good returns. We will generate some good profits out of the stock market. As much as some of the stocks that you own did not do that well, that does not mean that you must give up on the stock market. That does not mean that you must throw in the towel, but you need to soldier on. You need to learn from your mistakes, and you need to become a better retail investor in 2022 and learn from the mistakes that you did in 2021. Otherwise, with all that, guys, yeah, as I'm saying, I'm very positive and I'm ready for 2022 because I believe that the stocks or most of the stocks that we talk a lot about here on this channel, I believe they are also going to do very well in 2022, which is something that I'm really looking forward to. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I make tons and tons of stock market investing journey, and I would really like to appreciate you for watching our videos or the videos on this channel and supporting this channel from the bottom of my heart. I will really like to appreciate you, and I believe that you are going to keep on watching even the videos that we'll do next year. I mean, we'll get better and better in terms of production here on this channel. In terms of the videos, we'll try to give you, or I'll try to give you as much information as I can about the stocks. I mean, this year I also tried to cater some of the people or some of you who were recommending me to cover certain stocks on this channel. I tried to do that and it worked perfectly fine, and this is something that I'll continue doing even in next year. Time and time again, I will ask you guys to suggest the kind of stocks that you would want me to cover on this channel, and we will cover just that. Otherwise, with all that, I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, even in 2022. And I pray, or I believe, that you will get those kind of good returns that you want, but you just have to persevere through the headwinds that some of these stocks that you own might be experiencing. And yeah, like I'm telling you, I believe that you just need to soldier on and continue to be consistent, continue to load the boat, especially to those stocks that have good future prospects and have strong fundamentals. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. And God bless you all.